Hey, how's it going today? It's Frankie and I'm here Random Movie Mondays. And this movie is called Game Over, man. What can I say? This movie, let me tell you one thing now. This movie is absolutely quality. Possibly one of the best movies I've ever seen. Probably one of the funniest comedy movies of all time I have seen. Not just on Netflix, but in general. It is just sensational. From the start until finish, it is just absolutely fantastic. I have no idea where to start. I'm not really going to do this in order. I'm probably going to start with picking out scenes first and just talking about them through there and pick out the best scenes. I might forget something because this movie had a lot in it. Despite just being set in a hotel, it just had literally everything. Apart from the end part, it wasn't in the hotel. But I'll get into that soon. Watch it first because there's a lot I'm going to give away here. And so yeah, where do I start? It's about there's three friends called Darren, Joel and Alex, and they work in a hotel and terrorists take over. Now I'm not going to mention it in order wise. I'm going to pick out some scenes because some of the scenes in this movie, they made me laugh. The start, when the three of them were in the hotel room and they saw like condoms full of cum in there, and they sort of like, who was it that was like, because Darren is like the drug addict dude, that's how I could tell. And he's just sort of like high on weed and he's on the bed. And I think it was Joel or somebody that was filming saying to get the condoms out or something. I can't quite remember what was happening. And the recording and stuff. And the condoms out. And then people came in as well and just started. And they were kissing and saying. And another scene where because the terrorists come in. And they want money from a certain somebody called the Bay. And he's sort of like, you know, he's a millionaire or something like that. And he's a famous person. And yeah, they hold everybody hostage. And then Darren, Joel and Alex sort of obviously being the heroes in this obviously. And there was a scene where they go into like a lift. And and then there's like terrorist people chasing them, right? And they sort of tried to get the hatch open. Who was it trying to get? Was it Alex or something? Somebody was getting the hatch open. And then one of the enemies looked out in one of the lift doors. So you're thinking, okay, the lift door opens, there's nobody in there. So I was like, damn, really? They escape. But then I've realised, oh, it's a comedy. It doesn't work that way. And then the other lift door opens after the enemy leaves. And they didn't even get out. And then another scene where they kind of have to go down the stairs and they avoid the lifts. And then I think Darren just sort of, he does what Alex and Joel did in Sad Side of the Rain. And just like, I've never done it when I was a kid, right? But I know a lot of people in school that have done that. And they sort of used to have a habit of doing that. I never did it because it's dangerous, right? I don't want to fall backwards or whatever. And when Joel and Alex did it was perfect. When Darren did it, he sort of messed up and he hits the floor. Obviously the stairs, like the next stairs going down that floor, not all the way down. And then another scene where there was like, you know, terrorists or whatever you want to call them, like checking out the hotel doors. And I think it was Joe that was peeking through the door and they said they come quick. And the idea that Alex had was genius. This is hilarious. This scene right here is absolutely just hilarious. And the two men come in, right, and they open up they see like a body in like the wardrobe, and you see that Alex hanging himself, and he's got his he's got his knob out. And then one of the guys said, damn, he died pretty hard, something like that. That scene made me laugh. I did not see it coming. And then these two dudes start making love. It's like, I love you, man, I love you. And they start making love and they're on the bed and Alex just looks all like horrified when he pretends to be dead. He's all horrified, and Joel and you know, Darren's all car and just sort of like killing them, and they knock one of the dudes unconscious. And then eventually the other dude obviously attacks him. He said, you killed my lover. And one of them says, he's not dead, he's just unconscious. And then the guy just starts attacking them. And then, excuse me, and then I don't know what happened. And then he eventually falls backwards. Excuse me, I burped again. He eventually falls backwards and hurt his head on like the drawers. I think, yeah, they do he does come back eventually later on in the movie. But yeah, here and then they start fabricating, you know, an idea basically to try and like do like some sort of what? Oh man, I forgot the zip line. That's it. They start doing the zip line, and they start I didn't feel that they see this guy coming to it. The guy that, you know, not guy coming to, but a guy that one of the guys that are unconscious, like the guy on the bed, and he sort of gets up and he's hanging by a thread off a cliff. But then it just sort of nearly collapses, and then the sulfur just comes in and sort of just, you know, gets this guy out. And yes, so he gets one of the enemies, and they'll start cheering. And the one they mentioned Tom Brady in the celebration. Oh my god, is that Tom Brady, right? The Brady Bunch. I think Joe said that, and Dan says, was it Alex that said that? And then they sort of go, you know who Tom Brady is? They're referring to the NFL player. And then they sort of like, you know, after that, and they go into like the surveillance room. It's not in order, by the way, these scenes. I'm just saying. And they come across this dude, and then one dude dies from the the impact of when they crash into one of the windows. And then this dude called Donald, who earlier on in the movie opened up a suitcase, a briefcase of his lunch or dinner, whatever it is. And then his name's Donald. And yeah, so, you know, he opens up, and then he wasn't eating then, but I just had to mention that because that could have been more funnier, but I'll give him that one. I'm not going to hate on this movie a lot. I'm not going to hate on it at all because it's just fantastic. And then this dude sort of says, "Oh, I found him. I found the free, was it? Wages." I think he thought at first they were like, I think he said that it was SWAT or whatever it was. I don't think he said waiters, and they'll probably just forget about that part. And then as soon as he was about to shoot him, the thing that they made with the zip line, was it they used an animal? What did they use? And then it sort of drags him, and he drags him to the ground. There's also another scene which, in a horror movie, this would have disturbed me, but it is pretty funny because of how the movie is. When Mitch, the hotel boss? I don't think he's a manager, I think he's a boss. Because he told Cassie, who I think is like the manager, he told her off or something like that, wherever it is, when he found out what those three dudes were doing at the start of the movie in that room. And Mitch sort of hits on one of the terrorist women. Well, I think there's only one terrorist woman, I think. She's a trained killer. He sort of hits on her, and she sort of like cuts his like finger off, basically. I mean, I could use the word knob. I don't think I've ever used it, but I'm only using it twice because this movie had it in it. So YouTube, please don't stop this video, because yeah, this movie is fantastic. And then he sort of goes to the ground. I thought he died, but in the whole movie that would disturb me. But because he said, "Oh, my pecker," that kind of made me laugh. It'd have been that one too. And then another scene where those three guys were like, where they had a gun pointed at them by the other dude that was made unconscious, and he said, "You killed my lover," and he had to pretend the other people that they were dead, and he gave us a sort of rough spa treatment. And then yeah, so you know, that scene was pretty cool too. I like the action scenes in it too, the gunfire and the action scene where Alex was by himself with that one dude in the kitchen, and he eventually, you know, killed him. Well, I think Joe killed him with a gun. I thought Alex did originally, because they had some sort of argument as well, which it was about a game idea, and Alex is too hell bent on it, and Joel and Dan both called him like selfish or whatever it is, because there's like people's abs at stake or something like that. And yeah, I'll go into what the idea was and how they made it, which is pretty genius. And yeah, that fight scene at the spa where, you know, eventually, you know, I think, who was it that, because I think Alex was like talking big, and he sort of like pushed the dude, you know, forward wherever it is, and you know, someone like put out the lotion, I think Joe did, and it made the guy slip. And then I think Alex also picked up a gun. He was happy to get his first kill, by the way. He was upset that he didn't get his first kill. It was like, yeah, come on, we got our first kill, come on, yes. And then, yeah, so, and then they just started to, you know, make the suit, which I gotta say was absolutely just brilliant. The suit made in a movie like this was just different and original. I loved it. I loved the whole suit part. They used the unconscious dude as a suit. Don't know how they did it, obviously. I figure there is something like that in real life, but it's just genius to have it in a movie like this. And then the suit got someone attacking a few people, and then Joel sort of starts saying to make sure the battery's not overcharged, overheat, which it did. You know, when a comedy movie, like a character in a comedy movie says something like that, it's usually going to happen. Let me drink some tea first, God. Oh my goodness. I had to have a sip of tea there. This movie is a lot to get through. And then they start having a standoff as well in the room, in like a conference room where people had to later go into. They were putting like some sort of in another room at the rooftop or something like that, and they were the ones holding the Bay hostage because he's a rich man or something. And then you eventually find out the Omar dude or Oman was in on it as well the entire time from the start. And he sort of shoots one of the dudes. I forgot the dude's name. Is not Ray? Is it not Ray? Isn't it? No, it's not Ray. I don't think it is. It's an old dude. I've forgotten the dude's name anyway. But yeah, they shoot. You know, he shoots the old dude. He says over. He's the one that orchestrated all this because his phone wasn't taken, which was convenient. So put two and two together. He's in on it. And then a special guest comes into it. I'm not going to say who. I know there was someone called Shag. I don't think it's the actual person. I don't think it's that person. But unless that dude is famous in Mullah Farud, I don't know. But there was one special guest in it. And I'm going to give a little clue to this. It's someone from Jackass. I don't know if it's actually him. It definitely sounded and looked like him. And unfortunately he got shot in the movie. And then Shaggy had to perform some sort of song, and this old man dude or Omar dude had to, you know, force him to sing a song. Didn't sound very appropriate. I mean, it wasn't that much of a bad song anyway, so I don't know what the Shaggy was talking about it being inappropriate. And then yeah, then you see there's a few crazy scenes in it where a guy's head just sort of explodes and people get shot. I was nearly about to sweat then. It's an effing chaotic movie. It's just brilliant. It's just a chaotic, hilarious movie from start to finish. There is one messed up scene though where I don't know why they had to do this, but it involves the Bay's dog. I'm not gonna say it. You could probably figure out what happened to the dog, but not in the way you're thinking. I thought the dog was gonna get something like that a different way. Not the way. Yeah, I'm not even gonna talk much about that, to be honest. But then the action scenes of the gunfight, the conference room and stuff like that were, especially when also Joe was fighting with the woman, because earlier on he said, "Guys, I need to tell you something," and Alex and Darren said, "Yeah, you're gay," and Joe said, "What?" And they knew all along that he was gay. I didn't suspect that. And he starts fighting with this woman, like it's a pretty cool fight. Calm down that one. And then, as soon as she was about to kill Joe at the table, Mitch just comes back. I thought he would have died. Nah, what happened to him? And he comes back and he throws his cut off knob to her, and that's when you know, Joe sort of, you know, trips her up and she lands on a knife and it cuts her. Boy, and especially towards the end where they tricked the Omar dude into thinking they got his money. I don't know how I don't know how they managed to do it, but they did it, and in exchange for the Bay, to, you know, they put him in like some sort of like bag or something, and he shoots the bag that the Bay's in, and he doesn't die. I don't think he dies or anything. He got taken to hospital, but they did some craziness at the end where they I don't know how they pulled off this trick, but it was genius. They had a bag full of explosives that, you know, well, his explosives anyway, because that's what was put on people's necks. So it's kind of karma for him, and he's like, oh crap, and then boom, wow. There's a big explosion from that helicopter though. It's just, and then they found out that the check earlier on in the movie that the Bay gave him was to shut him up and leave him alone, which to be fair, I kind of gathered. I didn't think he was going to accept an idea from guys like that anyway. But then somebody else comes called Mark. I've forgotten his name actually. I've forgotten his surname, Mark something. And then he said, I want to have the idea where I can make loads of money so we could turn it into like a computer game. To be honest, doesn't sound that bad, to be fair. I mean, loads of money, they became millionaires and they're on a yacht or whatever you want to call it. And they start making a speech, or Alex makes a speech anyway. And yeah, and then at the end, very end, you see like dudes that I thought they were SWAT officers at first. I was like, what did they do wrong? But it's actually more terrorist comes in, and then it says coming soon, game overboard. Is that like because is that like making a joke at the end of the movie, or is that an actual next movie that's going to come up? Because if it is, I'm watching it, but I don't know how they're going to do it because it's on a small yacht. So I don't know how they're going to figure that one out. But there's not many people in there this time. But I would love to see that. Make another movie like this, please. I don't think I can think of any other scenes in this movie that's important to pick up. Apart from like there's a few bickerings that I mentioned here, and that Alex didn't take the cable that was meant to drug them people up in the conference room so that the guards for CPB didn't take it because of what they said earlier to me, because like Jordan and Dan was just planning an idea without him, sort of thing. A bit petty, but yeah, obviously gonna have stuff like that in a comedy. Yeah, not really much else to report. Like there was like another scene where the Omar dude was, I don't know if it's Omar or Omar, I think it's Omar, something like that. I'll just get Omar anyway. I do apologise if I messed up the name. Where he got two innocent people to fight, and then the guy said, this is ridiculous, and the woman just kills him with a heel or something like that. Yeah, and another I thought I was about to forget this scene. Another scene where what was that? The babe was telling that Omar, remember that time I made you eat that, that woman's like, what? That she's those sort of workers, and he sort of talks big to him, but then he gets like a big dude, like a big guy. I'm not gonna be a bit rude and say what he actually is, but yeah, he pulls his trousers and he's like, "You eat this, guys, you know what?" And then the bass started getting into it, and then we just said, "Oh, okay, nice." I was like, "What the hell?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, it's like a massage." Oh my goodness, yes, this is brilliant. Oh, I was like, "What the hell what is happening?" And then he thought that was too easy, so. Yeah, I that's so many scenes I can gather in this one movie. If there was also another kill scene where I think the other dude, not Donald, the other dude, I've forgotten his name. I think one of them was called Dildo or something. And let's say it was called Dido, and that's how the woman said it. She pretended to speak German or whatever, and the accents started changing. So yeah, and then yeah, because there was like the area was full of weed. They were both high, and the one wasn't that tough. She was talking a bit weak, and the guy said, "You're not so tough now." And he drew someone in their face, and he took a video, wherever it was. But then, when he was talking too big of her, she picked up a gun and she shot him. Yeah, I just had to mention all the good bits in the movie, not just the funny parts, but the action bits too. And I can't lie, when you have a movie that has like two genres, one comedy and one that horror action, it's very rare you see both aspects mostly mixed up, because it's something to do with comedy. Obviously going to have a lot more comedy in it because it's part of humour. It's not meant to be scary or action packed. It's meant to just focus on the action because it's funny. The action kind of is like the main thing in these type of genres, because if it's horror comedy, you can't make it too horrific because that won't make it any funnier. Same with action, they can't have too much, as they got to have more like jokey parts into it too. So yeah, and I really liked how this movie used both. Everything about it, the characters as well, they looked and came across idiotic and stupid. They were geniuses at the same time. Respect on who made this movie. If I have missed anything out, I 100% apologise, because there's so much detail in this movie. It's incredible, and I would give it a standard ovation, but I don't want my microphone to drop or whatever. So I'm gonna clap like this. Wait, let me just clap properly. Just sensational, absolutely brilliant. I should have done that with the other good movies I've seen on Netflix, but yeah, I was afraid my microphone might drop, and it could have done, to be fair, with how I'm sitting and how it angled. But I've got to say, clap, standing ovation and props to who made this movie. Wow, I was taken back. There's not a single negative I could say. Maybe you could say the dog part with that scene, didn't need to do it, and that's what killed it. Do I give it a rating just because of that? Probably not. I don't sound too disrespectful and harsh to us, because the rest of me was just fantastic. That one scene there, it was kind of not needed, so that's why I didn't want to talk about it. But the movie in itself, out of this world. It definitely deserves a 20-minute explanation. It's nearly 20 minutes now, so of this video, so it's just brilliant. it deserves a lot of respect and recognition. It's not often you see movies like this come out, and it's not often you see movies like this around. But I'm surprised this movie is on Netflix, because this is a type of movie that would get banned. But you know what? It's great that they had it. I was about to watch Abigail until I found out Abigail had stuff in it which I'm not a fan of. So I decided to put on this. But it's a horror comedy, Abigail. I thought it was a fun and horror, because I wasn't going to do Terror Tuesdays tomorrow due to England playing. But you know, I had an alternative, which is this movie, so I had to put it on. So yeah, didn't regret it. I'm glad I put it on. I'm glad, because no one was going to wait for a movie like this for Funny Fridays. Respect. Please watch this movie, because I will do a quick movie suggestion on TikTok as well, talking about this movie. Okay, not talking about, but suggest it to people, because yeah, out of this world, outstanding. I just can't say anything else about this movie. I mean, I spoke about it enough. And yeah, rating for this, I'm about to forget the rating. 10 out of 10. Solid 10. The dog part, yeah, you could probably give it lower, which I can understand, which could be give it a rating lower, but the movie was funny. The action part was just phenomenal. I can't fathom it enough how, I don't really use that word, fathoming, but I think I probably extended a bit too much with that word. But yeah, I can't talk about this movie highly enough. Thank you for whoever made this movie. Thank you for getting me to talk about it. And I'm not in communication with the people that made these type of movies. I wish I was. I wish actually those type of people would comment and say thanks for watching, because yeah, this movie deserves a lot of respect. So yeah, that's got to be it for this video. It's been too long now. So yeah, 10 out of 10 it is. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like, comment, share, and know. Subscribe and hit the notification below. So see you in my next video.